Extreme scars. Jerusalem. Thomas. Day 8. From now on, don't let anyone trouble me with these things, for I bear on my body the scars that show I belong to Jesus. Galatians chapter 6, verse 17. He'd heard the rumors. In fact, Thomas had heard it directly from other disciples who had seen the Master alive. At least that's what they had said. When I see his hands and put my fingers into the nail holes, when I put my hand into the hole in his side made by that Roman spear, then I'll believe he is risen, Thomas had said. It wasn't a miracle that Thomas wanted. It wasn't some great sign or wonder. He merely wanted to see the scars on Jesus' body, the symbols of his suffering. Though Jesus had conquered death and lived in a glorified body, he still had scars, reminders of the price he paid for our redemption. 8 days later, Jesus appeared again. How foolish Thomas must have felt when he came face to face with the Master. How silly his grandiose statement must have seemed when the other disciples reminded him of it. However, Jesus did not harshly rebuke Thomas. Looking Thomas in the eye, Jesus offered his hands, encouraging him to touch the scars and to believe. Christ's scars remained after his resurrection as a reminder of his still suffering body. For though he conquered death, his body on earth still suffers, and he can identify with those around the world who bear scars because of their faith in Christ. Scars are our teachers, vivid reminders of painful lessons. They're often ugly to look at and not often pointed out for others to notice. Likewise, the scar of persecution in the church is not often the topic of conversation at many Christian gatherings. We consider it unnerving, a mystery. However, its purpose is to teach us. Persecution plays an important part in God's marvelous plan for the entire world to hear and respond to the gospel. Jesus bore his scars publicly. In fact, he encouraged Thomas to touch them in order to teach him. His scars are our teachers, reminding us of the price that was paid for our salvation. We must continue to learn from, not ignore, the price our persecuted Christian family has paid.